Hey friends, what's up? Kevin here from the My Song of the Day Rock 2000 to Today YouTube channel, and today we are going to be doing a band review on the hardcore punk rock band Beartooth. Alright, so for those of you who are new to the channel or forgot how our band reviews work, here's how they work. First, I'm going to go through how I first found out about the band, how I started listening to them, and where they stand with me today. Secondly, I'm going to go through each of Beartooth's 3 albums, talk about the music, what it's like, and kind of give you a taste of what I think of Beartooth from that perspective. Third, I'm going to tell you what I like most about Beartooth and what I dislike most about Beartooth. Fourth, I'm going to go into what my favorite song is by the band and why. Last but not least, I'm going to give the band a rating on the scale of 0 to 10. 0 being Maroon 5 Now, 10 being Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody. So, enough with that kind of junk. Shall we get on into it? Let's go! So, how I first found out about Beartooth was actually through one of my very good friends from high school, and he's still a good friend today. His name is Chris. Now, Beartooth is one of Chris's favorite bands of all time. It might actually be his favorite band at the moment. I am not entirely sure. But he was telling me, dude, you gotta check out Beartooth. He was playing songs by Beartooth, and I thought, this is some good stuff. But I never really got into it fully. I'm still, you know, huge into Rise Against, huge into, I still listen to a lot of 30 Seconds to Mars, Disturbed, 3 Days Grace, all that kind of stuff. So I was going from there. Then, about, I think 2018 rolled around. We were at this thing called Sad Boy Saturday, which is just, like a night where people pack into bars and they listen to sad boy music. Think Fall Out Boy, Panic at the Disco. My buddy Chris comes in wearing a Beartooth shirt. I'm wearing a Rise Against shirt. We're like, oh, we were hoping for some more harder stuff than Mayday Parade and maybe some more My Chemical Romance. But, that's what happens. As I started this My Song of the Day, Rock 2000 to Today project, I'm like, I gotta listen to more Beartooth and feature them on the skill as a Song of the Day choice. So listening to Disgusting and Aggressive, I'm like, okay, I gotta find some songs here. Now, when Disease, their 3rd album dropped, that took it to a whole nother level. I put Disease as the album of the year in 2018 in our end of the year review. So I'm just kind of took off from there with Beartooth. So I still listen to them, but more sparingly so, because I like to listen to other stuff more or less. But the band is in good standing with me thus far, and that's kind of where I found out about them. So shall we get into some music? Let's get into the music. So Disgusting was Beartooth's first album. This one came out back in 2014, and this one is hard to its core. It is a good metalcore album in terms of song style, composition, lyrical content, instrumentation. You name it, this album has all the makings of a metalcore album. If you look at the inspiration behind this album, you really look deep into it, the band has said they've been influenced by Attack when it came to making this album as their debut. And yeah, it's really hard to miss those connections. So let's take a look at some of the songs, shall we? Taking a look at the lines. It has this intense metalcore sound to it through and through, especially with the vocals in the verses. But when you get to the chorus, Caleb sings a little bit more cleaner on this one, and I actually really like how that meshes with each other. I think it's a good song. I think it's a great song to have on this album. If we look at Beaten in Lips, my bad, I always mess this one up. I love the message behind it, because when you're going with a more metalcore sound, you're going to end up going with something that's a little bit more personal that people aren't necessarily going to find. And this one just basically is telling people to be who they are without, worrying about being beaten in lips. People are going to not like you overall. That's just the way it is. But to be true to yourself and not give a crap about what they think, yeah, it's a great message in this song. In Between is the softest song on this album, in my opinion. And to say that doesn't do it enough justice, because this is a hard song, a good hard punk rock song. But because I have to say it's softer, because the rest of the album is much more metalcore. But I love the fact that you can really hear Caleb's voice in this one, singing cleaner than he has on the other songs on this album. It really brings it out nicely. Now, Keep Your American Dream is a song that you can definitely tell where this band is influenced from. It screams Attack. It just does in terms of composition and style. But in terms of lyrical content and kind of how the vocal pattern goes, I was thinking this is a lot more of a connection with A Day to Remember. But I liked seeing that the band was taking influences from good metalcore, punk rock bands from the genre from around that time, or from just a little bit beforehand, actually. And I thought it worked. I thought it worked really well, and I thought Disgusting was a good album. I thought it was a great debut album as they led into number 2 into 2016. So Aggressive was the second Beartooth album that came out in 2016, and this one expanded on what they had done in Disgusting. But one thing they did in this one was they experimented a little bit more with a hard rock sound than with a metalcore sound, thus bringing them into that hardcore punk rock genre, which I thought was a pretty good move by the band to kind of expand and experiment a little bit. Let's take a look at some of the songs here, and I think Hated is the most popular song on this one. This one where they stuck with metalcore in certain parts of the song, especially in the verses, but ended up showing that they have created a certain sound for themselves where they can have a metalcore sound, where they can have a hard punk rock sound, that they can have, you know, the best of both worlds and mesh them together, especially with Caleb's vocals, where it's not that clean, you know, song style and clean vocals as you see from other artists or other vocalists, especially when they come and sing normally. Think Tim McElrath, Rise Against, think Chester Bennington. When they regularly sing, they kind of have a scratchy tone to it, and that's what Caleb does work with as well, and it does well here. Taking a look at Loser. Now this one, I thought from an influence standpoint, had Ronnie Radke and Falling in Reverse all over it, especially in Caleb's vocal pattern and how the song progressed. It sounded like something that would easily come out of Falling in Reverse, and I like the way that they experimented with it, because it still stuck with a metalcore and hard rock kind of vibe. It really went hard on it, and I was a fan of it. Take a look at Sick of Me. That one showed that the band could easily stick with a more hard rock and hard punk rock tone than with the metalcore tone that Disgusting had, which I thought, you know, that's interesting. I wonder if they're going to expand on that when they come out with another album. Now, in 2018, we got Disease, and oh boy. Disease is the third album that Beartooth released back in 2018, and let me tell you, if you have not listened to this album, you are doing yourselves a grave injustice, because this was my pick and our pick for the best album of the year in 2018. It had it all. It had just a fantastic mix of song styles, whether they're going more metalcore, more hardcore punk rock, maybe they're going just hard rock in general, or maybe softening up just a tidbit. They show that they could experiment with different types of sound, but still stick to their core, and it just really worked out here. It was a fantastic album, has a great mix, and I mean, let's just go into some of the songs. Greatness or Death, it starts out with a slow kind of southern rock style, which actually that southern rock style is pretty present throughout the rest of the album. But it starts out slow, and then it just gets into this full-on metalcore kind of vibe, hard rock kind of vibe. And it's a surprising song, but it is done really well. Disease has hard rock written all over it. Disease is a fantastic song. It is the titular song off of the album. It's hard rock straight through and through. Caleb does go with a normal singing voice and a little bit more of the scratchier, not necessarily screaming as he has in shoot, I can't remember what the other album name is. Come on, Kevin, get it together. But we're just going to keep rolling on anyway. Disgusting. Shoot, I completely just thought of it. It doesn't really go as hard with the screams as Disgusting, but it kind of gives that more raspy singing voice, a little bit of a, not necessarily dirty, just, you know, think of it as not clean, in a sense, when it comes to the vocals. But it is a great song. It has a great pace, great tone, and it's something that you gotta listen to if you haven't. Let's go with Enemy, and this one starts out with that distorted guitar and just ramps up back into that full-on metalcore sound to show that the band, yes, they did do metalcore beforehand, and they can still do it today, and they can still rock out hard and bring a southern vibe to it as well. Now, Believe is one of the softer songs on the album. It has more of like a Foo Fighters-esque vibe to it, but I do like the experiment. I actually really like this song. It was a great mixture when it came to everything else that was on the album. It really showed that Beartooth has the range to stick within everything that metal and rock can throw at it. Now, I don't necessarily want to see them go full alt rock or pop rock. I want to see them saying that metalcore, hardcore, punk rock, hard rock, just all that kind of stuff, because they thrive well in here. Disease has it all, and that's why it was the best album of 2018 in my opinion. Alright, time for part 3 where I talk about my favorite and least favorite parts about the band. And my favorite part about the band is just strictly their core sound, because they have this sound down with influences from Southern Rock, from Attack, A Day to Remember, hell, even Ronnie Radke from Falling in Reverse. You can tell that all these influences are there, and they make such great music off of it. I mean, they can go metalcore, hardcore punk rock, hard rock. I've seen them go on a little bit more Foo Fighters hard rock as well, but it fits. It really fits. You can tell that the influences are there, and especially when it comes to Caleb's vocals, I think that is something that is incredibly underrated that people just are not really paying attention to. One thing that he can really do with those is go hard with metalcore and just sing regularly when it comes to a hard rock song or a hard punk rock song. Or kind of with that, you know, Believe Foo Fighters-esque song. His vocals really mesh well with whatever they're trying to go with. And it seamlessly transitions if they transition it within the song. It works out really well here, and I'm a huge fan of it. That's why I like the band. Now, I think my least favorite part about the band in this instance is, now this is something that's a little bit more personal on my end, but I just have a trouble really fully grasping the band, and I don't know why. See, when it comes to, you know, hard rock and punk rock bands, I mean, punk rock, I'm all about Rise Against. When it comes to hard rock, you know, I'm really getting into like 3 Days Grace, just throwing it out there. And metal, you know, I'm always about Disturbed. I just, for some reason, am not always listening to this band like I should be the way I have been. And it's just something that I just really am having trouble fully grasping the band and fully embracing them. I do really like the band, however, but when it comes to fully embracing them, it's just a little bit tough on my end. So that's kind of what I like about them least. It's just I can't get a full grasp on them. Alright, time for my favorite song, and it is no surprise here. It is the titular song off of their third album, Disease, so yes, it is Disease. Now again, like I said, I'm not as big of a fan of this band as some people like my buddy Chris, like one of our followers on Instagram, Maddie. But this is such a well-constructed song, especially within the hard punk rock era and genre. Holy moly, this is absolutely insane. And now, I'm not the largest fan of, you know, the full-on screaming vocals, but what Caleb does here with his vocals, where it's clean and then just not, you know, screaming dirty, but like not clean, as I would put it. You know, like you just gotta rub some Windex on to make it clean. A little more raspy like Tim McElrath does. I absolutely love that kind of stuff, and I am a sucker for it. But then the song is well put together when it starts out a little bit softer with the guitar and then all of a sudden just goes into a nice, great punk rock song. The one thing I hope for this song is that this is the catalyst into the next album that they have, maybe in 2020, maybe 2021, but this band is destined for great things, especially after album number 3. They were already set on that trajectory, but man, I really hope they take this, what they did on Disease, especially with that song specifically, and just go forward with it, because that was awesome. Alright, now time for my rating about the band, and I'm going to give Beartooth an 8 out of 10. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, you're probably thinking, you praise this band like crazy, why are they only getting an 8 out of 10? Well, let me tell you this. So, I love the band sound, I love their composition, I love a lot of things about this band, but the one thing that's really keeping me from giving them a higher rating than an 8 out of 10 is the fact that I just cannot fully get my arms around them and just enjoy the hell out of them on a day-to-day basis. It's just, for some reason, something that's going on with me. It's just tough. I can't necessarily explain why. But there are bands out there that you guys probably really like or dislike that's like, oh, I just kind of have trouble, you know, grasping them. I've seen a lot of people say that about, you know, Hollywood Undead or Rise Against, and even Disturbed at some points. But that's just, you know, that's just me with Beartooth. I do love their sound. I love Caleb's vocals. I love how he can go from screaming to that raspy singing to more of a hardcore screaming. Kind of like Tim McElrath does. So, I'm a big fan of it. However, the one solace I will give you, all you big Beartooth fans out here, is that this is easily able to even rise further into that 9 and maybe 9.5 range, because this band is fantastic. I am incredibly looking forward to seeing what they put out in their upcoming, you know, years, because this band rocks hard. This is something that should not be missed. This is going to be one of the best bands to come out of the 2010s. Well, basically start in the 2010s. But they're going to be up there with bands like the Fever 333. As, you know, maybe I'll probably do at the end of the year, you know, top bands that debuted in the 2010s. And Beartooth is easily going to be on that list in the top 10 for sure. Maybe number 1. We'll see, though. That remains to be seen. But as a fan of this band, you know, not as big as you guys, but as a fan, I want to listen to more of them, and I hope that they just continue off of the momentum that they've created from Disease. Alright, folks, so that's it for me. Thank you for watching the My Song of the Day Rock 2000 to Today band review on Beartooth. If you think I did a good job in this video, give me that like button. If you think, man, this kid just sucks, give me that dislike. But if you're going to give me that dislike, tell me why in the comments, please. Because I want to talk to you guys. Alrighty, so if you're also not subscribed to our channel, what the heck are you guys doing? Because we put out content every Wednesday. So you're going to want to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon to get notified when we release videos every Wednesday. Sometimes if we have a couple albums that come out in 1 week, maybe we'll do more than one. Who knows? Alrighty, also we have our social platforms that you should be following. So I've got links in the description below for these. So if you want to follow our Facebook page, what about our Twitter page? And our Instagram page. You're going to want to follow all of those, so click the links in the description below and follow all of those. You will not be disappointed. Also, you ever hear of this podcast called Chord Progression? Yeah, that's me. I do all that stuff. So, if you like to talk about rock music, if you like to listen, you know what's going on. I talk about concerts I've gone to, funny stories like how I lost my shoes for 10 minutes in the mosh pit when seeing Underoath, Skillet, and Breaking Benjamin. Yeah, I talk about all that fun stuff as well. So you're going to want to listen to that. And I also will interview members of our community just to see what's going on and talk to them. So if you want to be on, just let us know. I've got links for iTunes, Spotify, and hopefully Google Play by this time in the description below for you to check out our podcast. So go give the Chord Progression Podcast a listen. It would mean a lot to me. And last but not least, but most certainly important, if you have an Amazon Alexa, Amazon Echo, whatever you want to call it, and you are not subscribed to the My Song of the Day Rock 2000 to Today Alexa skill, what are you guys doing? Because that is the catalyst behind all of this. Here's what you got to do. I got a link in the description below. You click on that, you hit subscribe or enable, or you can say, hey Alexa, add My Song of the Day Rock 2000 to Today to my Alexa skill set, or enable My Song of the Day Rock 2000 to Today. Then all you have to do is say, hey Alexa, play My Song of the Day. You're going to get a 5-second intro from me, basically telling you what day it is, a little fun message. Then I'll say what the song of the day is, by what band it is, and then that song's going to play in its entirety through and through. Once it's over, boom. That's it. You want to listen to it again? Just say, hey Alexa, play My Song of the Day. And you can listen to it again as many times as you want during that day. The next day, will there be a different song? Yeah, you bet there's going to be a different song. So I'm going to give you new songs every day. Maybe you're going to rediscover an artist you haven't listened to in a while. Maybe you're going to just, start listening to some bands that you have never listened to. Maybe you're going to be like, oh, I love that song. I can't believe they playing that song. Yeah. It's a great chance to discover some great rock music from the year 2008, also metal music from the year 2008, because I dabble in that as well. So, it'd mean a whole lot to me if you guys do that, and I want to say a preemptive thank you to everyone for A, who is subscribed to this channel, and B, who is following any of our social media platforms. I want to give you a big thank you. If you are not, and you want to become part of that community, I just told you what you had to do, so I want to say thank you, and that's going to be it for me. This is Kevin from the My Song of the Day Rock 2000 to Today YouTube page. I threw my hat already. I'll throw a computer mouse, and I'm going to end this with a see ya!